Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your month ahead taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose, hit that subscribe button. If you are already a continued subby, thank you so much for all of your support. You know I truly love you and appreciate you for it. With that said, if you would like to book a personal tarot reading with me, you can do so on the website addressed below. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless all of my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So let's have a look, see what the month of June 2019 has in store for you. What are your actions and your interactions with the world at large saying for this month ahead? And this month you get the Nine of Swords, right? So you're treading very cautiously this month, Saggies. What is that all about, right? So the Nine of Swords represents worry. It represents anxiety. It can talk about some type of deep fear that you have. It can also be the process of releasing something on a karmic level or something on a really deep level. So your actions and interactions with the world at large is what you do, right? The Nine of Swords itself represents the process of going through anxiety of some kind. It represents going through the process of sleepless nights, something that really worries you to the point where it almost like sits on your heart or sits on your chest, so to speak. So when you see this, the Nine of Swords is basically saying that this month you're going to be, it's almost like you're going really into the depths of yourself and you're treading, excuse me, because this is your steps, it's what you do, right? You're treading really cautiously. It's almost like, rather than, you know, Sagittarius is bold, like you go in, you do things, you get things done, like you're very dynamic. It's like, oh, okay, so right, I'm going to make this happen, I'm going to do this, this and this, and you set off down the path to making it happen. The Nine of Swords, though, sees you this month, you're being very, very cautious about the steps that you're taking. I mean, this doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Sometimes it can be auspicious in the sense that, you know, when you're cautious, when you take your time with something, you can be diligent about what it is that you're doing. But it really feels, there's almost like this slow creep thing that's going on, whether you're stalking your prey of some sort, you know, maybe there's something that you've seen that you want to go for, or something that you're working on. You know, and if you are working on something, this represents you doing it at night time. This is something that you're doing in the night, right? So it could be that you're working late hours into the night this month. That could definitely be a possibility. Or some of you are shifting over to a night shift, or you're, you know, you could even be burning the proverbial candle at both ends this month. So just keep that in mind. But whatever you are doing, you are proceeding with extreme caution. That's the feeling that I get from this. Aside from everything else, it's almost like you're being really cautious with the steps that you're taking. And that's not always a bad thing. If it's because you're nurturing or nourishing something that you want to launch or put out there, that would be a good thing to do, right? Sometimes it's good to be cautious, and when it's in that respect, absolutely. So let's have a look at your money and materials. What's going on in your finances this month? This month you get the Queen of Swords, right? So straight away we can see that you've got two swords cards out, right? And the swords are all about air, they're about intellect, but they're also some of the more difficult experiences that the tarot talks about. The Queen of Swords talks about fairness and equality. She's got, like I always say, she's got a mouth like a sewer but a heart full of gold. She will absolutely tell you what is and what isn't. She doesn't mince her words and she does not hold back. Usually an air sign female, so this could be an Aquarius, a Gemini or a Libra. But very often the Queen of Swords comes up as somebody that is older or somebody that can be considered a little bit cantankerous. She doesn't mince words, right? She's very forthright. She'll say what she means and she kind of doesn't hold back on any of it. The fact that you've got this in your finances means that this month you really need to look at where your money is going. This month you really need to pay attention to what it is that you're spending money on, where it is that your financial and material resources are going, and ultimately if this is a path that you want to continue down. Now, I do need to caution you, because you've got the Nine of Swords there. The Queen of Swords brings her own sword. That gives you 10. There is an ending or a completion going on here this month. There's something that's coming to a close. Now, because the Ten of Swords is quite a heavy energy and a harsh card, I'm going to pull another one just to clarify what this Queen of Swords is, is really talking about, or what these combined might be getting at. But my advice to you this month, you've got to be really selective with your finances, and maybe that's what you're being cautious about. Maybe there's something that you're saving for, maybe there's something that you're aiming for, and it's causing you to need to be very cautious with your materials, with your resources at this moment in time. Now, the only thing that I will say to you is the Ten of Swords, again, even that can sometimes have not so heavy meanings, and sometimes it does mean that you're being a little bit hysterical. So, and I'm not saying that you are, I'm just saying. Right, so you've got the Two of Cups. If there's something going on with a relationship and it's finances that are straining the relationship, ask yourself what's going on with the power dynamics, right? Because the Two of Cups very often talks about relationships. It very often talks about connections. And, when I say relationship, it doesn't have to be boyfriend and girlfriend. It doesn't have to be a traditional relationship or the traditional style of relationship. It could just be mean somebody that you're partnered with, or somebody that you're aligned with, or that you share resources with. It's got that kind of feel to it to me. So this is providing you're willing to open up and talk about it and do the dialogue thing. Actually, I see you coming through this generally unscathed. All right, so keep that in mind. But yeah, there's definitely something coming to an end here, so you want to keep that in, keep that at the forefront of your mind, that maybe there is something that you're ready to walk away from or leave in the past. So your communications with the world at large, you've got the Star card. This is beautiful. Hope, optimism, joy. If you open up a dialogue when it comes to this connection, when it comes to something that's, and it feels like a connection that has money on the line, right? If you're ready, willing and able to open up a dialogue about it, you will absolutely reach a very steady medium where both parties are satisfied with the answers that come up. The Star card represents Aquarius, so it talks about the tribe, it talks about your people, it's hope, it's optimism, but it's also a card of saying, what is the opportunity here? And this really is a month where that old cliche is going to come into play, where you say to yourself, okay, what is it that I'm able to learn from this? Don't meet it head on and say, fuck this, I'm going to fuck through this challenge. It's almost like saying to you, this is going to be presented because it actually has a lot to teach you, providing you are ready, willing and able to pay attention, or rather separate how you feel from the experience that you're having. Open up a dialogue, be ready, willing and able to communicate this month, and you will get the best out of it. And then finally, your heart and your half. So this might shed some light on whether it's a personal relationship or not. And this month you get the Strength card, right? So for those of you that are single, it looks like opposites attract. The Star card is Aquarius, the Strength card is Leo, right? So for those of you that are single, you're meeting somebody here that is very, very different from you. Somebody that really excites and ignites your bones, and it could be through challenge. They could really reveal to you some stuff that you not necessarily don't like about yourself, but stuff that, that is a bit of a challenge for you, stuff that might need to be worked on. I like this though, because it really does suggest that there's a lot of fun to be had, and this person is going to really lighten and brighten your heart, right? Which I absolutely love. For those of you that are partnered, you've got to have that strength to persevere this month, right? If you can open up the dialogue, this whole month is about you opening up a dialogue. This whole month is about you talking. It's about you communicating and seeing through to the other side. You've got to be in it until it's done, right? Whatever that means, whether it's done, or whether it's that the communication has done what we hope it would do. Very, very interesting set of cards. You've got a lot of air here as well. Swords, the Star, Aquarius, lots of air. Obviously you've got the Two of Cups there, which is water, and then you've got the Strength card, which is fire. But very, very interesting. Very heavy on the air this month, which means you're going through a lot in here, right? So remember, my dear Saggies, life is to be lived out there. Sometimes you've got to get out of your head and into the world. So keep that in mind, because as a Sagittarius, you are built to roam the world, right? To run the planes, as it were. So keep that in mind. You know, if you're too much in here, find a way to get out of there and get out into the world. Your first week of the month, you've got the Chariot card underneath the Nine of Swords. So although, yeah, you are proceeding cautiously, the Chariot card suggests that actually that is the right course of action for you. Certainly in the first week of the month, it's good for you to take your time with what you're doing, to take your time to process what you're going through, and ultimately to process the best next steps for what it is that you want to create or what it is that you want to do. Slow and steady is going to win the race for you this month. So your second week, you've got the Empress, right? So interestingly enough, you know, if you're, like I said, if you're doing this whole dialogue thing about resources, it looks like you are ready to make an investment this month, but you're being really cautious about it. It's almost like I see you kind of like almost counting the pennies, like, okay, I've got everything that I need here. All I need to do is press the send button or press the go button or press the book button. And you're kind of like, oh, should I, shouldn't I? My advice to you with the Empress is it's a solid go, but you've got to be honest and upfront about what you expect from what it is that you're buying, purchasing, aligning with. And if there is a financial connection between you and somebody else, just because it starts shaky doesn't mean that it finishes shaky. So things will definitely clear up around the second week of the month when it comes to finances, or rather you'll be clearer in yourself, so therefore better able to make decisions and also better able to see how things are going to shape up for you. Third week of the month, you've got the Justice card. So that's Libra. So again, more air. There's lots of air going on. So contracts, signing things, looking for things, looking to create things, signing on the dotted line, so to speak. The third week of the month could very well see you signing a contract. It could very well have something to do with a new home, with a new property, whether you're moving somewhere, whether you find the property or the area that you want to move with. You're making that decision this month. And if that's not for you specifically, then making this decision could very well be about a new social group or a new job or a change of professional environment. Your fourth week of the month, you've got the Sun card. So you're all right, okay? It's okay. Proceed with caution. That's a wise step to make. No matter what happens here, I mean, you've got the Sun, which actually rules Leo, right underneath Strength. So your relationships, providing you're willing to do that work, look really, really golden and rosy for you. The contract that you're signing in the third week is an absolute go. This collaboration that's taking place, or this thing or this investment that you're looking to make, is a go. I mean, you've got really good cards here on this bottom row. Absolutely. I mean, the Sun is blessings, abundance, all of that stuff. The top ones suggest that you are very much in here this month. So remember that some of the anxiety and the stress that you might be feeling this month will be internally generated, which means if you're too much in here, if you're having a stressful time of it in the month of June, get out of your damn head. Right, get out of your head and into the world. Remember that Sagittarius is made to roam the world. It's not made to live through this. All right, and then finally, your key to the month. You got the Wheel of Fortune, right, which is brilliant because the Wheel of Fortune represents Jupiter. So it's probably worth mentioning your ruler is currently in your sign and it is retrograde, and he's getting well and truly into his retrograde groove now, right? Which is asking you to ask yourself, what am I doing with the opportunities that I've been handed? Am I squandering them? Are they ones that I even want? If so, be more selective about what you tie yourself to, who you align yourself with, and whether it actually works for you. The beauty of the Wheel of Fortune is it tends to bring you synchronicities, so be really selective. And this is the thing, if you've noticed that opportunities or things have slowed down a little bit, what it's actually asking you is not to push. It's asking you to examine what's being offered and see if it really works for you. If it does, fantastic, pick it up and go with it. If it doesn't, leave it. Sometimes being selective about the things that come into our lifescape and saying, actually, you know what, that's a great opportunity, but it doesn't work for me right now. Sometimes that is the highest path that you can take. All right, so with that said, have a fantastic month. Let me know how it shapes up for you in the comments below. Take care, and I'll see you very soon for more videos.